Marcus Thompson. I'm with Tim Kawakami. Welcome back to Warriors Plus Minus, the new Warriors Plus Minus.
The new Warriors Plus Minus.
I must start by thanking you, TK, because
welcome,
when we first started with the Athletic, we hired Anthony Slater, and we knew he was going to China. And you asked me, you said, "Do you want to go to China?" And I was like, "No, I don't want to go to China." And you were like, "Okay." I'm so thankful you did not force me to go to China, because judging from just our Anthony Slater,
from the copy he's sending, not that that's bad, it's good copy. He's just
he looks like he's dying.
Every single one of them mentions, "Oh, tired, it's exhausting." I think the team's exhausted. By the way, I sensed this. I think they've been kind of canceling some things. They've been not practicing. They've been, there's some. I don't think this is a long-term issue, but I think when they get back, we're not going to see the Warriors that we're all used to seeing.
But the problem is when they get back, the season is like a week away.
Well, they got that one last game on Friday, which might not be too good.
So does anyone play in that then?
I don't know. Some of these guys, they might prefer if they don't even show up. They'll be there. But I just think this might a couple game. Maybe they'll get all revved up for the ring ceremony in game one, but I think the dog days of this season might come a lot faster than usual. It's not going to be late January. It might be right off the bat, just because just judging by the vibes I'm getting from out there. And hey, listen, the first game here was a little sloppy too. I just think really long season last year. After a really long season the year before,
for four of those guys,
after a really long season the year before, with the Olympics for a bunch of those guys, with all the commitments. Some of those guys have been to Europe, by the way, once already this summer, and they're going back again. Durant was in India, so I would just tell Warriors fans who are listening to this, and I know many of them are, don't think these guys are going to be real sharp to start the season. I'm not saying they're going to lose 5 games the first 10, but I think you're going to see some groggy-legged basketball to start the season.
You got to wonder if it's worth it. The Warriors love this, right? They love being in China.
Warriors management.
Yeah, Warriors management. Yeah, the franchise loves being in China. They love the idea of being a global team. Klay loves it. Steph loves it, right?
Anta loves it.
Right?
Under Armour loves it.
All
Nike
these
loves
reasons to go business-wise. But is it even worth it? Are the Warriors even – like, this is the game that's usually like it used to be. The Warriors would go because they weren't good, right?
Like Minnesota.
Like Minnesota. It's like, really, should the Warriors have to do this because they're better? Now there's a price to pay for it, and was it worth it? But we can tell they're tired. Where's the China Klay moments?
Yeah,
right?
Very little.
We aren't seeing anybody out at the club. We aren't seeing any memes of people doing crazy stuff out there.
Nope.
It just doesn't seem like they're even having fun.
They're like just a regular road trip. We were seeing them sign autographs in the hotel lobby, walking to the bus. I really do get a sense that this took a little more out of them than they thought it would, and I think they're probably right now much looking forward to getting home. And then I think we might not see him for a couple of days once they get him, maybe 3 days.
The real question now is, can we hire an interim beat writer for a week?
I know. We're just talking about Slater mostly here. We're not talking about the Warriors. Because I think Slater's beat to hell.
If you're listening to this, Slater's going to need a replacement. If you can turn around quick stories, clean copy, we might can hire you. We give you a 10-day contract.
10-game contract. We'll see how that works after that. We can't guarantee your deal because against the salary cap. We're up against luxury tax. But we might need some. And I do have to realize I am the boss here saying this, so I will say we're joking.
Speaking of luxury taxes, you did a mailbag, and the top of the mailbag, you revealed that we have already matched our annual goal.
The Athletic Bay Area.
The Athletic Bay Area has already matched our annual goal.
You remember that day we walked in there and there was a number on the board?
Yes.
And
I thought the number was gettable anyway.
Yeah.
It was like, we're going to get this number.
Yep.
I didn't think we'd get the number inside of the first 3 months.
Yeah, inside of 10 weeks. It's been amazing, and I wanted to express appreciation in that item, but I also want to express appreciation now because I imagine many of you listening are subscribers or are about to be, and I hope you are. But things are going really well with The Athletic, and it's thanks to the writers, possibly excluding the people in this room. It's thanks to I'll tell you this, the teams have accepted The Athletic Bay Area instantly. Now, maybe one or two, like, okay, what do you do? But I think
they just had a few questions,
yeah,
right?
questions, and that's which is all fair. It's a new thing, but no one has even blinked about, credentialing us or where we're going to sit, or blinked about the quality, and that's because of the quality, I think, of the writers that we brought on and that we've produced. And I don't want this just to be a cheerleading segment, but the feedback I've gotten, I think it's authentic from teams themselves. Have been impressed by the quality of coverage, by the depth, by the analysis, the analytics. There's a strong analytic sense about a lot of these teams, and they're appreciating the
especially
number.
the good ones, right?
Well, the good ones. Well, I just want to say that there is a definite idea that we're getting into things that newspapers don't do anymore, or maybe never did, and that's the plan. That was always the idea. A source of mine was asking me today, "Is it gone like you expected?" So I'm a pretty big planner. Marcus knows how much plans I had for this, and I charted out the first 2 weeks until Marcus told me that he was going to be gone for the second week, and that was a surprise to me at some point. But
I gave you like 4 days notice.
4 days notice.
Dude,
Marcus. Oh, by the way, I'm going to be
I'm going to New Orleans.
By the way, it's been very close to what I'd hoped for, very close to the vision that we both had, and everyone else on board. But it's been just more so. The times X, 2X, 3X, and that's been very fulfilling. And we're only going to go harder. What did you tell me when I told you things are going very well? The numbers are great. You told me what?
I don't remember. I'm Klay. I'm Klay.
Yeah, trying to Klay.
I'm Klay.
You said this means we got to do better.
Yes,
we got to do more. We got to keep going. We can't stop. And that's exactly the mindset we've got.
Man, I said that. That was good.
You did say that.
Was
at least that's what I took from it.
That's
maybe
what I said. That's exactly what I said.
Yeah.
With James Earl Jones.
I was gonna say like some Buddhist monk on a
Right.
mountaintop.
No, I was James Earl Jones, Field of Dreams voice when I said that. I meant that.
Go the
Speaking
distance.
of which, you dropped newspapers, which leads me to, we got a new segment that's coming on this podcast. It's called TK's Going Soft. That just reminded me of that. We're going to keep TK's Going Soft.
People are gonna like this segment. I might not like this segment, but people are gonna like this segment.
The reason I brought that up is because we really got to talk about my race. Because if we're doing that well, I'm telling you, you just got through saying you needed a Warriors writer for next week, which is really me.
It's gonna be me.
It's gonna be you because I'm gonna hold out. I'm gonna hold out like Donald Penn until I.
Yeah, I'll give you the 2-year deal he got. The starting next year.
Yeah, right. Start next year.
And then we're gonna cut you. I still can't believe you're not going to do the Durant. You're not going to say, "Let me give up $6 million to make sure that we can fit."
I think I did that. I think I did that at the beginning. I think. Matter of fact, you did it.
I did do it. I literally did that. By the way,
you did it. Absolutely, you did it. So yeah, I was like, you did the Durant thing here, and then I said, "Hey, I'm like Steph. Do you need me to give anything back?" Nah, all right, cool. Give me the
201 million.
You know how you make that offer that you really want people to turn down? That's what I did.
Speaking of which, by the way, Mark is going to love this. There was a chapter of a paperback book that was run in the Athletic Bay Area yesterday talking about Steph Curry's redemption after not winning the title after unanimous MVP 2 years ago. And in this chapter written by Marcus Thompson II, and I'm reading it as the editor that we ran from some book of title that I don't remember.
Called?
I don't remember the title. There was a reference to it, and as an editor, I just kind of read. Okay, I noted it. I said we're gonna let it's the books. It's not exactly our story, but in the book there was a mention that Steph Curry, that Joe Lacob was thinking about not offering Steph Curry the ultimate max that he ended up getting $201 million. First of all, which hit me, I'd heard rumors about it, but you're reporting it straight up. Where did you hear this? When did you hear it? And what's the impact, if any, that Curry's camp had from knowing that Lacob was thinking about offering him less than his ultimate max?
First off, it wasn't like a secret, right? Like insiders. This was something we had all heard about behind the scenes. So I remember it was in Utah. I go
Second round.
Second round. I go up to Steph. Is like, Steph, dude, I think I have to write this. Like, I've been hearing it now. I hear it pretty strong. And Steph's like, man, nah, it's the playoffs. I'm not talking about that, right? He's like, I'm not dealing with that. It's the playoffs. We got to focus on this. And one of the difficulties of writing something like that is if you say it, all they have to do is do the opposite.
Yep.
And whether you're right or not, you just look wrong, right? So if I write,
and sometimes you cause it to happen the other way. Right? By writing it, you say, "Oh no, we've offering him."
That's
the whole
exactly.
time.
I was like, if I write this, they'll just sign him to a max and then say you were wrong, which is why it's like, all right, you can't. I mean, it would have gotten a lot of clicks, a lot of headlines, but it would have been a little irresponsible. I thought, right? Mm-hmm. I just felt like, hey,
I totally understand.
I just didn't want to. I just didn't want to do it, especially on something that can't even happen at the moment. It couldn't happen until July. So it's like, all right, that sounds good. And I'm of the mind, Joe Lacob would be crazy not to think of it. Like, everybody who sees this sees where this is headed. Mm-hmm. You see the $200 million luxury tax bill coming. I think it's responsible for him to say, hey, where can I cut a corner
or
to?
Think it.
Yeah. Where can I cut a corner to? I think in the end, what was supposed to happen happened, right? Hey, this is Stephen Curry. Yeah.
Who's been way underpaid.
Way underpaid for 4 years.
3-4 years at least.
And not only that, they're making a lot of money because of him, because he was underpaid. All of this was able to happen.
The winning started with him.
So, I mean, they came to the right conclusion. There were legitimate concerns from Curry's camp, like, they better not do this. And I've had this mindset for a couple of years. If they try to lowball Steph, like, that's the one thing. I've said it multiple times. The one thing that might make Steph leave or want to leave is if they say, hey, can you take another discount? Here's the crazy part, and this is how players are. He will offer a discount, but you can't. No, you can't go to him.
Well, it's the same thing with Durant. Well, absolutely with Durant. They were never going to say, "Hey, Kevin, take 5.8 less than we can give you, and we can still keep Iguodala and Livingston's bird rights." They could not do that. They certainly couldn't do that with Steph. What did I say every time we sort of talked around this issue? You cannot offer Steph Curry $1 less than his ultimate max, because even that isn't what he's worth. He's worth more than that. He's worth more than that to the franchise. He's worth more than that to the NBA. He's worth more than that on the court. So I can get where the businessman Joe Lacob was thinking this, trying to etch it out. Maybe didn't know that Durant was going to make this big offer, and it's still Durant's going to make $38 million next year. So that's a 1 year.
Yeah, this
thing.
is all before that.
Yeah, this is all before that. Yeah. But I'll just say this is where Bob Myers is. Bob Myers.
That's the one thing that I kept.
And
Bob
I'm
Myers
sure
is
Steph
like, no.
knew. I'm sure Steph knew that and done.
That's the comfort blanket, right? Is Bob Myers? This is what he does for the franchise. Yep. Hey, there might be an accident over there. Let's aisle 2. Yep. Let me go make sure this is about to happen.
Make sure that grocery cart heading for. I'm going to grab it, and it's not going to crash into 3 people.
And this does not mean. I never took it to mean that Joe Lacob was saying Steph's not worth the max. It's just like, hey, we got 4 dudes who are worth the max. Everybody can't get 4. And I don't know. I don't think he ever went to Steph and said, hey, can you do this for us? It's just, there was a legitimate concerns that this was an option.
And Joe's a negotiator.
Yes.
I mean, again, he's given a lot of money that I didn't think it would all have been case number 1, where I thought he could have stared him down more. But when you're a negotiator, when you're a venture capital guy, you don't say, okay, I can't. Here's what I'm going to pay you. That's it. You in your mind at least you think, okay, how do I do with this paying less? But that was one where I think even Joe had to think, okay, it can't go beyond just whimsy.
I think that's
because
what happened.
Steph Curry is going to get every dollar Steph Curry deserves.
That's exactly what happened. And Bob Myers was there just to be the guy says, this is what we can't do, right? Yeah, we'll find this money somewhere else.
And this is, there are many reasons why Bob Myers is worth. He's probably getting $4.5 million a year now, and was been promoted to president of the team. And this is a big reason. They know he can take care of both sides. Joe knows he can take care of this, and Steph and the players know he can take care of it. And Steve Kerr knows he can take care of this. So any issue like that, It is interesting. It is certainly
Very
interesting.
It's interesting as a what if.
Yeah.
Right? Because in the end, he got the most money possible he could
Yes.
get, right? So it's not like it's an indictment because he gave him the max. Now, if Steph is sitting at 98, you know, or he's a free agent or whatever, it became this contentious thing. Like they paid him the money, so he got the money. That was that. I thought it was worth to put it there, like when you're encapsulating all the stuff that's happened. For me, that's when it made the most sense. And I know you like the fact that it ran in the Athletic.
I am fine with that. I am absolutely fine. I kind of
this is Ray's material right here. This is why I'm talking Rays.
Yeah.
I'll take that.
I'm just surprised you didn't go take it back to the Mercury News and go, hey, I can come back to you here. Look at all this good stuff.
I'm not going to confirm or deny whether I sat on that knowing we were about to leave. I'm not going to confirm or deny.
I got no comment on any of that part.
I know we can't, because of what we said about China and the gruelingness of it, we probably can't take too much from it basketball. But one of the developments is Steve Kerr saying Nick Young is out of shape.
By the way, you noticed that
off the bat.
Media day. You're the first one.
I was like, yo, Nick Young looking like me walking around here.
Yeah. He's got a belly. There's no question about that. You got a belly.
Yeah.
You got a real belly.
He ain't got a belly like me. Yeah. I got him beat in the belly department. But
Steve Curry probably should talk about you getting in shape.
Yeah, right? Yeah. I'm with it. Me and Nick Young, we can work out together. So, I remember being told a long time, it was Mark Grabo. Remember Grabo?
Sure.
He said you can always tell who's in shape by looking at the arms. Like the easiest thing to do is get definition in your arms. So if you're doing any work, you will see it in your arms. Nick Young's arms was like even David Lee used to come back to camp, right? With like I'm flexing.
Sure.
Because that's the first thing you get. So I'm like, yo, look at him. I always check out, do you have any definition of your arms? That's how you know you really wasn't doing anything. Is this a factor? I mean, I don't know if it matters that much because you got Patrick McCaw, and you got Omri Caspi, but they did give this dude the mid-level.
Absolutely.
Or the taxpayer mid-level.
Yeah. No, I think it matters because also if there's anyone who has to integrate into what they do, change the way they play in order to fit with this team, it's him. We all know that. And who can fit into where he's supposed to go, where he's supposed to cut, how he's supposed to move without the ball. I think Nick Young can do all these things. I'm not sure about it. He can do within their system. The idea was he's going to be that second unit guy who can kind of catch fire, hit 3 or 4 buckets a game, start the second, start the fourth quarter, and take some of the pressure off of everyone. Like, don't have to rush Durant. Like, how many times we see Kerr's rushing Durant back in the game because that second unit just can't score. And that's Klay and Draymond on that second unit, by the way.
Yes.
And they somehow don't score. And they're hoping Nick Young just kind of opens it up for everybody. So if there's any, like, if you're talking about the first 15 games, what are we looking for? It's almost, irrelevant what Steph, Klay, Draymond, and Durant do to me, first 15, unless they're 5 and 10 at the end of it. But if Nick Young is not integrated into this, and being out of shape would slow him down for this, then you got to go, well, at some point, Kerr might just say, forget about it, and I'm going to try to find some other way, because it's not like Nick Young's in their future for 5 years down the road. Like, if this is not working, McCaw might really be the guy, or they just figure out some other way to do this, and they put Nick Young. Okay, that was Jason Thompson. That was the one they ran through.
They can get off.
There's other guys that they've gone through. Now they have nobody exactly with Nick Young's skill set and to do exactly what they were going to do. But they could jigger it around. They could get Durant into that start the second, start the fourth quicker. They don't like doing it, but they could. And gee, you know what? We got a problem. Let's just put Durant in there. That's what I joked about all last season. Like, there's an issue. Okay, just play Durant more. That's okay. We're fixed now. So, but I do think Nick Young being someone who is going to have some issues no matter what, just getting into this and then being out of shape so he can't do it at full speed, that's something I would circle.
I mean, didn't the Warriors know this, though? They recruited him at the club.
Luke Walton.
They went to the club to recruit him to the Warriors. Like, you couldn't expect him to come in tip-top shape. I think one of the things we see with that, too, is, like, there's a certain like Warriors culture where you come into camp in shape, right? And outsiders kind of have to learn. Remember Maury Spates coming to camp like, oh, next year it's like, all right, here's how we do things. Yep. So perhaps there's some patience there. But if you're Nick Young, and I'm with you on this one, like 20 games?
Yep.
If you're not showing and proving, how long did Ian Clark sit? You get your start, and if you don't show up, the next guy come in is Patrick McCaw, and I was like, you might find yourself towards the end of the bench, and that's a guy you spent $5 million on.
And then, by the way, they're not pulling McCaw back if he's playing well, ever.
No,
because he's the future at some point. He's a rotation guy. If there's contractual issues with him, we can go into that.
Nick Young might be one of them dudes though. Who I don't care. I'm not in shape. I'm still going to go out there and hit 4 threes.
Yeah, I mean, right? And he really could do it. He could do that in game one. We're going to be talking about all these issues. He does in game one, and Steve's going to play it. Steve wants to play. We know that. I mean, Steve wants to play.
And you know Steve, too. Steve said that for a reason.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Oh, yeah. He's trying to light a little fire under him. But the problem is he got the China thing, and then he's going to be back from China, and then he's going to have no legs. He's going to have no legs for the next preseason game, and then what's going to go for game one? I don't know. But if there's anything, I'm just hitting my microphone here. If there's anything that I would underline as an issue, it's Nick Young. Two things: he's not quite into it on the way they play, and number two, he's not in shape, so he can get into the way they play, even if he was mentally with it. And that's kind of a two-pronged problem.
Another underline I saw. I know it's China preseason. Did I see Zaza hitting mid-range jumpers?
It's all Zaza now. It's a Zaza focused off. What do you have? 15 shots.
Unbelievable. He's like, JaVale's like, hold on, man. Like, give me my 12 minutes. I don't know. Again, this is probably part of some of the growth you can expect after another year in the system. Like
I thought Zaza was going to be a better shooter last year.
I did too. I thought he'd be better.
I know Steve Kerr did, because Steve Kerr was telling me this guy can hit that mid-range shot.
If he's hitting it, but if he's hitting it now, this 3-man center rotation might become 2 really fast. That's the mid-range jumper from the 5. Now, if he's at the elbow and you got to come out and contest that, all that's backdoor, all that's wide open. That's what David Lee couldn't do. Remember when he lost his jumper?
That's when it ended for him.
That's what literally when he stopped making that. I'm like, if Zaza can hit that, that's why David West is the backer. He can hit that. Now I'm wondering, like, whoa, are we going to see a better Zaza? Or is Zaza the one dude not tired in China?
He might be on the China time. You're right. He might be the one guy. We've talked about this, the pressure that's on the supplementary players to make the shot. If they don't make their first, how many times we see Zaza pops open, first shot, rolls out, he's not shooting the rest of the game because he's taking shots. In his mind, he's got Steph, got Klay, got Durant, and he just kind of clutches you up, which is what was so impressive about McCaw in that Game 5, by the way.
Man.
Like in the game finals, clinching, you're about to win a championship, and he's shooting the ball up like give me the ball. Durant, get out of the way. I'm putting his shot up.
He's waving off Steph.
Like, forget it. Forget you guys. I'm going for the MVP here. But I do think Zaza, we all know Zaza. He's a really nice guy. He's looking around. He doesn't want anyone to be mad at him. And so we'll see if he goes into the first couple games and he misses that first shot, if he's going to keep shooting it. I think they'd like for him to keep shooting it. Then he keeps missing it, maybe 30, 35, and in 23 might not be happy with him. But the intent is for him to take the open shot. If the open shot's there, take it. How many times has he been open and then given up the shot, and it just screws everything else up because
for
it jams
a layup?
Yeah, well, that too.
He's open for a layup.
He runs away from layups. That screws up the spacing. It screws up how they want the offense to flow. Then Kerr says, okay, I'm going to put JaVale in. That's how that usually has worked. And JaVale, we know what JaVale is going to do. He's not going to take the mid-range, but he's going to open it up with that lob game. So we'll see. With Zaza, he has the skill to do it. We see him making jumpers all the time. Can he do it when he's on the floor? And there's so much pressure on him because he's always on the floor with Steph and Durant and Klay. So it's not like he's there in that second unit, whatever. He's there with those guys, and you could just see it when they miss a shot. Like, oh, wait a minute, I shouldn't have taken that shot because Steph was over there. I don't care if he had 3 guys on him. It's Steph. It's a different mentality for those guys. And they admit it. They absolutely admit it.
No question. They came back. We talked last year about them having a bunch of centers, and they pretty much brought them back.
Yep.
They just replaced
and drafted another one.
Yeah, they replaced McAdoo with Jordan Bell.
Bell.
Is that do they still have too many bigs for a team that only plays a power forward, quote unquote, with the starting lineup
And plays Draymond to finish the game.
Yeah, Jordan Bell looks like you can put him on the court and he knows how to play basketball. And Warriors love those guys. They love guys who, when they get the ball, it's like I'm not. Oh, remember that that kind of Festus Ezeli feel?
Oh, yeah. Jason Thompson.
Yeah, those. You get the ball. Even Bogut, when it was time to shoot, there was a freeze. Like I don't know. Kerr likes guys who just look like who just know how to play. They know how to move. They know how to sit. He looks like those guys, but I'm wondering where's he?
Yep.
Where's he gonna play? And with McCall, you could see where the minutes could come.
Yep.
Right. You can see where they can go.
We've said they have a lack of kind of wing guards. They have great ones. They have great ones. They have incredible ones, but behind them they don't have a ton. That's why McCaw's going to play. That's why Iguodala is their backup point guard. I'm the one who keeps saying it. No one else says it except me and Kerr. Their backup point guard is not Sean Livingston. It's Andre Iguodala. But yeah, I mean, if Jordan Bell plays, it's over Damian Jones and Kevin Looney, the two previous number one picks, by the way. It's just
and how many minutes is that?
And which is
Looney's
which is
out,
like
right?
which is like. But I'm saying if he plays, they're not even dressed.
No. Yeah.
And so they have an incredible excess of third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seven centers. That I think what's going to happen is Jordan Bell's going to be the best one of them, and they're going to have to just say, okay, we're moving on from Looney for sure, unless they, for some reason, pick up that player option for next year, which I can't see them doing it. And once they don't pick it up, I think they're going to trade him. And then Damian Jones is like just this emergency. If JaVale gets hurt or if JaVale bombs out, then you have a backup JaVale, and that's Damian Jones, who isn't as good as JaVale. It's a weird excess, a weird luxury. But when you have the wings and point that they've got, they just kind of you can do it. We've
bodies,
seen it when they've rested guys. Though then you see Sean Livingston is your only point guard, and he's not even a point guard that Steve plays very much. Yet all of a sudden, then he's gonna have to play 35. They have this weird, like they can't have this. They're so top heavy.
Yeah, who's playing the garbage minutes? Who's on the wing?
We went all through that last year. That's why the whole
Still.
Briante Weber was supposed to be that, and then all of a sudden Durant gets hurt, and it can't be Briante Weber anymore or Jose Calderon. I think they might go through that again. But now you're in this luxury tax world now, where every dollar you spend is 1.5 to 2 times what it is. I don't know. You're going to do it. They're just got all these guys in case they need a center. They just believe in case we need a center or a big guy. Let's call it big guy because they're not even really centers.
We got 6 of them.
Got 6 of them, and maybe at one point Myers just trades 3 of them or lets 2 of them. I thought JaVale was gone this season.
I really did.
I thought he was because you had Damian Jones just do the same stuff, and you're going to probably be better in 2 years. I think Steve said, I want the same guys I had.
Or maybe we don't see Draymond as much at center, but then
in the playoffs, in the playoffs we sure will.
Yeah,
I mean, unless he's shooting the ball well. I mean, at some point offensively, he's hurting you a little bit at the 4. And he really is effective offensively as the 5 because he's a playmaking
Especially
5.
offensively.
Yeah, he's making plays at the 5 that other teams just can't deal with. Maybe they need Luke Walton back, coach, and let him shoot that 3 again because that's when he shot his 3.
Yeah, they've kind of got to make a move at some point. I just feel like
all those guys. Yeah, I mean, this is when you draft Jordan Bell, you're kind of saying
goodbye.
3 of those guys, 2 or 3 of those guys are no longer going to be with him. But again, they loaded them all up. They're going to go this season with it, and then next season maybe we see the turn of a lot of those guys. Just to try to sort them out. Maybe Damian Jones is their starting center next year. When they sort it all out, and Zaza and JaVale and West could all be gone. Maybe that's the Bob Myers super plan. Is that hey we've got next year's centers already lined up. Maybe, I just thought of that, by the way. I should write this. I just figured out Bob Myers. There we go. For the 100,000th time, I've just figured out Bob Myers.
You better think out a few more of those because I'm after this podcast I'm holding out.
You're out.
I'm holding out.
I think you're gonna pretend you went to China and just be tired for 2 weeks.
I'm just tired in general. Just lazy.
You know what? One thing we didn't talk. We had Klay on the show. And breaking news, and everyone else jumps on it, and I kind of threw something up there just to make sure that everyone realized he said it us, and somebody else claimed credit for some of this. Klay Thompson saying when we were asking him that he probably could take less. Now we talk about the max, all this luxury tax money. Oh my God, it's going to be crazy.
He pumped the brakes though.
Yeah, well, he said, we'll see.
He's like $9 million.
Yeah, you're not taking that. You're not doing $9 million. But that was, I've said this from the beginning when these stories started coming out about how crazy this luxury bill is going to be. So that was like people were saying Iguodala was going to make 18 to 20, which didn't happen. He made 16, which is more than I thought, but it wasn't 18.
Well, I thought it was 18 to 20, or 18 2 years.
Well,
that's what I thought they would do. Yeah.
The numbers were whatever, and they were saying Livingston 10, Ian Clark 6, JaVale McGee 6. Those numbers aren't happening.
Ian Clark got 10, right?
Ian Clark got 10. Well, I'm gonna not be mean.
You can't be mean to Ian Clark.
No,
Everybody
he's great
Clark.
Great guy. That's the question though. Who's Steph going to screw around with in pregame drills? Because his guy was Clark. He'll figure out somebody.
Nick Young.
Nick Young. Oh man, that really could get off the charts. It's if Klay's not going to demand 32. He's not going to if he's a designated veteran, he's not going to asked for 35. He's 26, 27 with all that anti-money as you told him. And Draymond, I don't think Draymond's going to demand 30, 35. I think Draymond 25. Again, these are huge salaries.
Huge.
But they get what
I think
this
they understand
is.
what they'd be giving up to get those salaries.
Exactly. You want to go play for Charlotte or Sacramento or Phoenix, and to get what? To get 29, because they're not paying you. They may not pay you 33 either, or 25 in this situation with the money that you can make off the court with the Warriors to be associated with the greatest team of all time. I don't know. I mean, I just don't. We talk about Worthy and Byron Scott and all these other guys for the Showtime Lakers. Why? Because they were on the Showtime Lakers. You put them on some other team, we're not talking about them. And I think these guys understand. Again, I'm not trying to negotiate for them. I'm not trying to negotiate for the Warriors for sure. I'm just saying what Klay said, and maybe his agent probably isn't thrilled, but he acknowledged to us that there's something larger than the dollars here, and especially because to be in the Bay Area, to be with this team.
Especially with Klay, right? He really loves the Bay.
He loves the Bay Area. And to be with Steph, to be in that locker room, they know there's way worse locker rooms out there. They know what's Klay going to be like on the Orlando Magic. What's Klay going to be like even on Memphis? It just
put Klay in like Indianapolis.
Yeah, it just
he'd die.
Yeah, exactly. So now LA I could see, but LA's not set up to just drop Klay into the middle of it. So
not for
Lakers,
35.
Yeah, the Lakers. That's what I'm saying. And yet the Warriors are the ones that he's best in. They can certainly afford it. They shouldn't pay a massive discount, but it's just proof of what is here, what they get about it, why it's good, and and that's what Kerr said when asked about it in China after Klay talked to us. So they get Kerr was joking he'd take a discount. Well, I think Laker might take him up on that, but they get
Kerr's not taking a discount.
They get what's special about this, and it isn't they're making every single dollar on the court. It's the dollars they make off the court, the relationships they have, and the winning that's happening here, and how this is going to put Klay Thompson in the Hall of Fame. He doesn't get in the Hall of Fame, I don't think, if he's just randomly playing for, the Chicago Bulls. He's not. And
he's
the Bulls aren't
Harper, just getting 23.
Yeah, exactly.
And,
it's like a nice career.
He's Jamal Crawford.
Damian Lillard is. I mean, he might end up in the Hall of Fame anyway. But look, Damian Lillard, if he was playing on a great team, would be considered one of the top, easily top 5-7 players in the league. He's not now. He just is not. And so, all these guys get it. And Klay enunciating to us 2 years down the road, obviously things could change, I thought was important, and we didn't really talk about it.
That's the only thing is like you don't know what's going to happen because it is the NBA. Stuff happens, but especially a guy like Draymond. Draymond's had this mapped out for years. He's like, I'm going to the Hall of Fame. Here's how I'm going to get there. By racking up championships, right? By being a Bill Russell version, right? Now, I'm not going to get you 30 a game, but I'm going to impact the game in another way and become a Hall of Fame. But you won't even know it unless we're winning, right? Nobody knew who Bruce Bowen was until he started doing it with us. Ben Wallace, yeah. He's like, I need to be on a championship team, and there's a monetary sacrifice. I think they know that. They figured this out. I wouldn't be surprised if Klay said, what's the most you can give me? And the Warriors and Bob Myers will come with a number, and he'll just say, yeah, if it's 25.
Yep.
Yeah, all right, let's do that.
And that's the other thing. What I do believe is significant is the reason why teams try to trade for Klay is because they see this coming up in 2 years. And the only way the Warriors would do it, unless somebody just destroyed them with an offer, which I don't think anyone's going to, is, okay, if Klay wants 32, maybe we got to take a look at down the road here. At 32, if we can get a top 5 pick and we can get a player who can play that position, Avery, we've talked about them, Avery, Bradley, all those guys, who aren't as good as Klay.
He would make the most sense to move. Yeah,
but if he's not saying that, if he's affordable in relation to where the world is for them, then why they're not training him. He's gonna be 29 years old when he comes up again. He fits right in there with this whole class. They try to build below him with other ways, Pat McCaw and everything else. But what did we hear from Bob Myers when we talked to him after the Durant stuff? We are riding this as hard as this is it. This is the moment. You don't screw around with this moment. You are never.
It happens too much, and then it's a 30 for 30 about how it didn't work out, right? Like even Shaq is sitting there with Penny talking about, man, I wish I didn't leave.
That's right.
Like they see that, they know that, they see that.
You don't, because they know there's going to be a worse time. You don't accelerate that. You just ride it out. And again, we're talking about guys who are 20. What's Klay? 26 years, 27 years old. This is not even close to the time where basketball-wise you have to start thinking about redoing it. Financially, you just have to keep aware of it. But basketball-wise,
and just bring in other revenue, such as maybe a new arena.
A new arena, maybe put PSLs on everything.
Are you going? Are they going to get you to go to the All-Star game? They officially applied for their license. Are they applying for me to go or applying to get the game? To get the game.
Okay, they get the game. Then
they get the game.
If it's here, I might be retired.
At the game in the Chase Center.
I might be retired by then.
There's no way. If you're retired, then I'm retired. Because I'm taking a nice chunk of that balloon payment you get.
Wait a minute. This is like proprietary information here. You can't be talking about this. Somebody's looked at my contract. In 2022, we can't. We're talking. We don't know with Klay in 2 years. I don't know.
2020. They applied for 2020 All-Star game.
What? I thought they got the All-Star game in LA on this year. It's 2018.
Yeah, 2019 is Charlotte. They applied for 2020.
Yeah, but you're not going back to California. It's going to be like 21, 22. That's if they get it.
Yeah, true. That's a good point.
Yeah, they're not coming back to West Coast that fast, probably. And Vivek Ranadive wants one. You can't. I don't know about Joe Lacob. He might bow to Vivek and say anything you want, Vivek. You're my guy.
That's not happening. Can we do TK's Going Soft?
All right, and I got a separate little thing.
Can we do TK's Going Soft?
All right. Let's go.
I don't know if y'all have noticed this lately. Tim Kawakami is a known journalistic assassin, right? We know he is a block champion. There have been cover story articles about him block. I know because they interviewed me, and I was the lead quote
in this. But I thought it was about you.
I was the premier voice in the article. So here's what happened. You're probably wondering like, what's up with the Warriors Plus Minus
and TK Show.
And TK Show. Yeah, we kind of had to start from scratch because our former employer would not release the access to our previous podcasts.
So you can't just be a subscriber and still get it.
Yeah, absolutely. So you go on. It would be nice to go on iTunes and change some passwords and emails and kind of keep the show going, but we didn't get it. So I'm like, I tell Tim, I'm like, hey, I haven't heard back. Day 3, I haven't heard back. I'm like, oh man, I still have people who I consider friends over there. I'm like, it's about to really get ugly now. And Tim does nothing.
Oh no! I've done.
It was so light. It was so light.
Yeah.
It was like nothing. What is happening? I expected full on. It is war.
Yep.
Like explain. I know you got a lot of subscribers and all that.
Yeah.
But are you going soft?
This is ridiculous that Marcus knows me this well that he can do this because I don't have a big explanation for this. I was ready to I'll say it. The Mercury News has chosen to be small time and do this. I'll go and I think I've
scorched the earth now.
Yeah,
then,
no, I've sort of. Man. No, I'll just say maybe if the Athletic wasn't doing as well as we're doing, I'd feel even more. No, and I wouldn't feel like insecure about it. I just would like we need to get a bigger foothold because that's who we are and we're good enough. We've got that foothold. We've got a number for digital subscriptions that they will never get, ever. They are not getting, and I know they want to. So when you play it out that far, it's like, okay, they're small. I know they're small. I didn't expect them to be this small, but if they think that's going to slow, if that's their only retaliation, if that's what it is, and I still have friends there, maybe not anymore. Whatever. We're bigger than that. We're already bigger than them in this and so many other instances. And I pointed out one on Twitter the other day with them following the Klay Thompson story. So if that's where they're at and they are looking up at us so obviously, so neurotically, whatever. It's only going to get worse for them. It's not. So if I go at them, if I don't go at them, we're bigger than them. So we're bigger than them, and that's why I don't know if that's soft. I don't know if that's more.
I mean, you kind of just confess, say, "Hey, man, we're living too good. We're eating high on the hog. I don't need to. I don't need to destroy anybody."
Exactly. Now I still might. It's kind of in my nature to, but I have held back mostly, other than a few tweets, because what's the point? You know, with some little dogs yapping.
The point is your reputation.
Yeah, man,
there are people who are literally scared of you, and now they're like,
you keep telling me.
Now they're like,
I'm
people contact me about working with us. I'm not gonna put them on blast, but contact me. Hey, you guys got anything? I'm like, you need to talk to TK. Can you talk to him for me? I'm like, dude, no, this ain't. 2 years ago, yeah, this is not TK anymore. This is TK living high on the hog, game changer, innovator. I told my wife, I'm like, oh, TK is a fool. He is not gonna be happy about this. They won't give us access. It's been 5 days. They can't even return the email, and at least say no. I was like, oh, it's about to go down. And then I saw like one tweet, like it's okay. It's okay. Hey, and just so you know, I got plenty TK going soft. So
yeah. This will be a regular. I'm told this will be a regular episode.
I don't even know who you are anymore.
And you've prepared this. You've thought this out. I'll say I'm not that prepared for my, rejoining little thing here. Will be Marcus Thompson's
Teflon.
Marcus Thompson's overexposed. That's how many instances of your overexposure your own website has to run an excerpt from your book. What's that?
Man,
that's ridiculous. I don't. Who's the boss there?
That is.
It's like what?
Top notch.
Like I gotta apologize to the readers for exposing them to this.
Here's the funny part was I was like, so first off, I forgot to.
Yes, by the way,
I was supposed to do it on the 3rd and totally forgot.
When the paperback
and the publisher is like, yeah, so are they gonna run an excerpt? And I was like, oh yeah. So I asked Tim, I'm like, hey, can I run this excerpt? And I was waiting for hey, we don't really want to do that. He's like, sure, you really run this show anyway.
I did not say that. I will say that. I said, sure, and then Marcus has it in there and set up to go like in half an hour.
It was already ready.
No. We actually have to look at this. I don't know what you might be trying to sneak in there.
No, I did totally do it first, and it was like, I should probably ask.
Yeah. Wait a minute now. Before I actually see it on the site, being the editor-in-chief of this, I probably should read it.
That is true. I was like, you know what? I probably should add. Headline ready photo.
2,000 words.
It's links in there.
What is going on here? So we backed it up a little bit. I took out a lot of the bad stuff in there, cleaned it up as usual, and then we ran a chapter of Marcus. Oh, by the way, it was hilarious when the first question I asked was Steph Curry on a microphone at a press conference. Tim Kawakami, the Athletic. You really doing this? What? He's like looking at you, looking at me. He's like, this is what you are now?
Absolutely.
This is what you're doing? Yeah, I think I'm doing this now.
That's correct. That's how we roll. You can learn from me.
He's knocking me by comparing me to you. So I don't know what
you can learn from my overexposure and my relentlessness in promoting because I'm going to do it for you too.
Yeah, right. I'm riding along with it.
On your next book. Your book on my adventures in French laundry.
Yeah, I'll just say this, just to be serious. One of the great things, one of the many great things about the job I have now is I am not thinking about a next job. This is the first time in my life
that's
thinking about a next
true.
job. Yeah,
not even like I mean, that's the existence of journalists,
Yep.
right? It's like waiting for
what do
the
I do
axe to
next?
drop.
Yeah, what do I do
for,
next?
yeah.
Where am I going to go next? What's my next platform? And again, I don't want to jinx anything. Who knows what's may happen tomorrow? But in my mind, this is the only job I could possibly want, and it's the only job that is right for me. That's unique. I've never been. I loved my job for the last years with the Mercury News, but I always knew there was something that could happen. I always knew there was something I might want to do. I always knew something this might not be the best place. This job right now, I do not want to write another. I don't want to write a book. I don't want to write another. I don't want to go to another job. I don't want another boss. This is the job I want, and it is unique, and it is pretty fulfilling to be able to say that.
Hey, I kind of want to write another book. I'm just gonna.
You got a whole other bunch of issues. You got a bunch. Yeah, is it just gonna appear on our website without any of us knowing it? It's like,
I feel comfortable telling you. I feel comfortable.
Thank you, Marcus. For
Speaking of what, you're I don't want people to think at all what you're doing is easy, right? So I know you sound high on the hog and feet up. This is the greatest thing ever, but it's a lot of work. You know what you make me think of, and we didn't talk about this. From the China, like, how's Steve doing?
Yeah,
right?
I didn't want to really say it, but
yeah.
I mean, again, I think he's going to need some rest. I think they're all going to, but we'll see. I mean, this is he has said that flights don't really bother him that much. They bother everybody though, to some extent, and being that just your body clock being wrong, and we know, he's had trouble sleeping. We know this. We know, this is not anything that's gone away. So we'll have to see. Maybe it's okay, maybe it's not. But I think they've all been affected, and you certainly have to look to Steve to see how he might be affected into the next few weeks. But you know him. He's going to want to be there. He's going to want to show us how great he is.
I mean, he felt well enough to go in on NRA.
Oh, we knew that. We knew that was coming. And that was
you
great.
Get the sense, like, some of his dialogue and commentary, I don't want to say he's feeling good as if, like, he's not feeling, but he's going and he's talking about stuff. He's, Steve's a texter, and he seems to be engaged.
Yep.
I wonder, number one, how long can he keep it up, and if that's a good sign at this point.
I think it is. I think he's reading again. Again,
Yes.
Steve and I talk about reading all the time. We talk about books, and he's really engaged on books again. And I think for a while, and that was a real, he loves reading. Like, I love reading at the end of the day. That's how I wind down. That's how we've talked about it, what books we're reading. And we hadn't really had that conversation for a while. And just recently, we've had that conversation. And damn it, it's on a book that he recommended for me, and I couldn't get through. So Steve Kerr's smarter than me, which I hate admitting, and I hate admitting to him. But I think he's feeling better. I think he's reading more. I think he's feeling more intellectually lively. And that's good for everybody, because a lively Steve Kerr is better for everybody.
I totally think that's going to matter especially during this rough stretch, during the Nick Young rehabilitation program.
You're already putting that as a rough stretch. You're putting that as oh man, I gotta go through that crisis, that Nick Young crisis.
I mean, I just feel like an engaged, vibrant.
Yes.
It's what they will need to kind of get through.
They didn't really have it last year.
Yes, it's what I think that's.
Or 2 years ago. I mean, even more so. So, but he's gotten through it. I mean, that's the thing, is he's gotten through it, and his idea, and he was telling you obviously earlier that he's just, at some point you can't worry about it. You can't think, maybe some of the stuff that he's tried medically has hurt him more than helped him. And just stop with some of this, clear it out, and say, this is what I have to do to get through this, and I am not quitting. I am not quitting this job. Like, his job right now is like the job I got now.
That's what I was thinking. That's what you reminded me of.
He doesn't want to do anything else. He has gutted through so much to get back for that, to coach that team in the finals, by the way. Still, we'll still never know what it took for him to get back.
And we thought he was.
We were all. I mean, I asked him like 3 days before he catch, "Are you going to coach again ever?" He's like, "Hell yeah." So he's figured a lot of things out. I think, just generally, not specifically about his illness, just generally by getting through it. And I think we're seeing. I think he's putting on a little more weight, which is good. I know people were concerned about that. And I think maybe the medication and all these things, he's just doesn't mean he'll never feel like as bad as he did for that Portland series again. But I think he's feeling, I have got a program for this, and I am going to get through it. And listen, getting back for the finals probably shows you how tough he was, because we're just don't know how dark those days were. And you and I think, are two of the people who can guess the best at how terrible those days were for him when he's missing playoff games, so he just can't get out of bed.
Yeah, missing playoff games. That's you know it's bad for Steve Kerr. He's missing playoff games. You know it's bad. Yep. Ooh, yeah, I really like the TK going soft segment.
I think people are going to be nominating them all over the place.
Around. Yeah, if you see TK going soft in the streets or in social media, you please let me know. Please let me know. I will bust him out. All right, we're out of here. Thanks for listening. Words Plus Minus, the new Words Plus Minus.
And producer Ben Cruz, thank you, by the way. Welcome on.
I don't know if I want his name on here.
That's on.
Nah, he's got a few more stripes to earn.
He's on.
All right, have a good one.
Yeah.